G'day again, John at Down Under Tunage here in Melbourne, Australia. I've got the chance to do a video today, and I've just noticed that Rod at the Happy Hippy Vinyl Guys March Madness contest that he's been putting on, that's been extended, so I should be able to just squeak in with an entry. So I better get that done and get it uploaded. So yeah, I'll start off. And the first one I've got to show is Adelita, a local Aussie lady, doing some fantastic solo work. And this is a self-titled CD. And Adelita, of course, was in Magic Dirt, that indie garagey type band from the 90s, the early 2000s. And this is a repress on coloured vinyl of the Life Was Better EP. Next artist to show is Marchella Detroit. This is the CD for Jewel. This came out in the mid-90s. I think these two, I think she had Feeler as well as a, I think they're just CD only at the moment, but that's the only version I've got it on anyway. And she, of course, was at one stage with Eric Clapton from memory, because she was Marcy, at one stage she was Marcy Levy, and I think she co-wrote Lay Down Sally with Mr. Clapton, I think. Somebody could confirm that. I think that's the case. But yeah, she did a couple of solo CDs in the 90s. And of course, Marchella was one half of Shakespeare's Sister. They had a couple of big albums in the late 80s, early 90s. There was this one, Sacred Heart, and then Hormonally Yours was a couple of years after this. And then they had a rather acrimonious split, and it took over 25 years before they got together again. And I think it was about 2018 or 2019, I'm not sure exactly. But they've put out some material again, so that's good to see. And yeah, so that's Marchella Detroit, who was once in Shakespeare's Sister. Next up, Aussie lady, Jenny Morris. This is the Body and Soul album from the mid-ish, late-ish 1980s. And Jenny Morris was once in the band in QED. All spiky hair and everything there. This is the Animal Magic album, and had a couple of fairly well-known tracks. This one and the song Everywhere I Go, both sort of charts and available as a single. So that's yeah, she was once I think she was originally from New Zealand, which yeah, quite a few Aussie artists have started in New Zealand and headed their way over here. She was one of them. So Jenny Morris and QED. And the utterly gorgeous album by Enya, Watermark, 1988. This is a big sort of breakout one. She did have a, I think it was the Celts or something. She had a sort of a soundtracky type album as well beforehand. But this was the one that sort of got everybody's attention in 1988. And Enya had done one session with the Irish band Clannad, which some of her family, including her sister Mary, are in, of course. This is, oh God, how do you say this? Fuaim, Fuaim or something. This is roughly 1982, I think, and this is a later edition CD because it's got a hype printed thing up here saying featuring Enya, presumably to sort of cash in on her success in a way. But yeah, so Clannad was a band that Enya was once in. Next one's a fairly much a gimme, and that's Brian Ferry. This is his Let's Stick Together album, and obviously the title track and the video for this, if you ever know Paul Hogan, anybody who remembers Paul Hogan from the 70s, he used to have a great show and he was brilliant at mimicking other artist and things and putting his own take on it. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm not sure if it's still on YouTube, but have a look around for the Paul Hogan take on this. I won't spoil the finish, but it was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, something that was quite memorable from the 70s was the Paul Hogan skit involving this from Brian Ferry off his Let's Stick Together album. And of course Brian was in, or the lead singer, Roxy Music. This is the Country Life with the rather racy cover with the ladies on it. That some countries had to have that as the cover. So yeah, thankfully some countries weren't too wowzery and you were able to have this. Now I've got a picture disc. This is Julian Cope, the picture disc for China Doll. Absolutely beautiful picture that is. That's a 10-inch picture disc. Yeah, Julian Cope. And he was in Teardrop Explodes. This is the album Kilimanjaro. It has the alternate cover. There's another one with I think it's an African scene of zebras or something on a field with the mountains behind it, but this is the other cover for Kilimanjaro and Julian Cope. Next up, another picture disc. This is Debra Harry. This is the 12-inch picture disc for Sweet and Low, a song that was off her what's called Deaf, Dumb and Blonde album. That's one I don't have on vinyl at this stage, but I've got this picture disc from her. And that was an easy one to figure out where she's from, because obviously it was Blondie. This is the redo of Parallel Lines on red vinyl, just a few years back. Next one we have is another local lady, Kate Ceberano. This is the album Brave. Yeah, Brave. This came out in 1989. And Kate was one of the singers in the band I'm Talking. It's sort of a funky, dancey band that was around in the early-ish 80s. And Kate was one of the two ladies involved in that. So that's the album for I'm Talking. And this is the album called Bear Witness from the band I'm Talking, where Kate Ceberano was once in. More Australian, and Martin Plaza. This was the Plaza Suite from 86. Had the big song Concrete and Clay that was on this. And Martin Plaza was once in. He was in Mental as Anything, of course, with Greedy and the boys, and they had quite a number of chart songs through the 80s. This is a compilation, Surf, Male, Sex and Fun, which is the key of a lot of Aussie males. And it's a gatefold. And most of their big songs are on it, of course, and even Plaza's version of Concrete and Clay, I'm pretty sure that's here too. Yeah, it starts side 4 on this. It's a 2-album set. And of course, Reg Mombassa, one of the band members, very good artist in his own right, and that's on the cover. And the final one to show, of course, another Aussie, and Steve Kilbey, Remindlessness, from roughly 1990, I think this is. This is another one where it's a 2 vinyl. And yeah, that's Steve, and of course Steve came, and of course Steve is the lead singer of The Church, which is a criminally underrated band in my humble opinion, but things like Midnight Oil and In Excess and even AC/DC, of course, are huge, but somehow The Church have missed out on some of that. But yeah, those that know, and that's probably the main thing. But this was the album for the Blurred Crusade. Silly me, that's got a bird on it. I should have used this in the recent bird video. I just didn't twig on it, but yeah, when I pulled it out, I thought, oh, hang on, that's got a bird on it. So yeah, that's Steve Kilby and the church. Yeah, you got a really good channel rod, and that's a great competition as well. So yeah, good luck to whoever wins it. It'll be a fantastic one. Yeah, and if I was lucky enough to win, obviously I'd like to pass it on to someone in the States, of course, because it wouldn't cost you a fortune as it would to get it sent to Australia. So that'd be one thing I'd think about. Yeah, but thanks again for watching, everybody, and catch up with you again sometime in the future. Until then, see you later.